Hey friends, it's your pal Mike Shea from Sly Flourish here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy GM Prep. In this show, I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master while preparing for my Sunday role-playing game. In this case, I am running a Shadowdark RPG campaign called The Gloaming, based on the setting of The Gloaming in Cursed Scroll 1 by Kelsey Dion of Arcane Library. It's a Shadowdark, one of the Shadowdark supplements. Really having a good time with it, really enjoying the system. We're going to talk all about the system, talk about, like, one of the things that these videos do that's different than just my normal GM prep is that I'm also learning a lot about Shadowdark while running it, and I'm sharing those experiences. I'm talking to the other Shadowdarklings on the Discord server and learning a lot from them, and really very interesting conversations going on. Always getting comments back from folk on YouTube with their thoughts, many of which are good, some of which are okay, at least worth reading, I guess. A lot of strong opinions. And yeah, and then doing that while I'm prepping my game. This show, like all of the work of Sly Flourish, is brought to you by the patrons of Sly Flourish. Patrons get access to all kinds of awesome exclusive features, a dedicated Discord server, the monthly Q&A, City of Arches source book, Uncovered Secrets Volume 1 and 2, a bunch of exclusive adventures, whole big pile of stuff. Lots of different things that you get for being a patron of Sly Flourish. And to the patrons of Sly Flourish, thank you so much for your outstanding support. So last week was my fourth game, something like that. They were in the lower reaches of the ruins of Marrow, which were a dungeon beneath the ruined tower. They went to the ruined tower, which is area 102 up in the upper left corner. They fought a bunch of bandits in the tower itself, bandits that were trying to recover a weird idol that they found below. They killed the bandits and then were convinced by a dwarf that they were there to rescue, that they should go down into the dungeon below and get the idol itself because it is dangerous, powerful, and I thought that was kind of an interesting trick for me, which from a motivation standpoint, if you put a MacGuffin in your game, but you make multiple reasons to get the MacGuffin, then everybody will go for it regardless of what their motivation is. So if you think about, like, what are the main things that motivate characters, if you think about character motivation, which is something, character motivation, the assumption I think for Shadowdark is that character motivation is treasure and discovery, that your goal is to go find old relics or find powerful treasure or find money. There's, a lot of the focus of the game seems to be on that idea that, like, A, you level up by getting treasure, B, you use treasure and gold in order to do carousing, and carousing is what gets you experience points as well as everything else. So there's definitely a focus. I'm still of the, like, hey, I like to have some character motivations that might be something beyond treasure, and so the players kind of bring that too. So one trick is, if you think about, like, the main motivations that draw characters into dangerous places in your fantasy role-playing games, treasure is certainly a big one. Like, hey, treasure is one. Discovery is one on its own, like just learning about things and discovering things is one. Stopping evil, right? Pushing back evil is definitely one, and growing in power, getting power. So if you think about all of those, when you can find, like, one item that has all of that bundled into one package so that everybody, oh, wait, that was really valuable, maybe we could sell it. And another group's like, ooh, well, that's really powerful. What if I could learn from it and I could learn new powers from it? And another one's like, well, you need to get that before bad people get it, because in our hands it's far safer than other people's hands. And then, the other one was like, hey, we could just cash that thing out. So having lots of motivations to get single items, or you go into single dungeons, I think could be a useful. There's your first tip of the day, right? Is think about the things that motivate the characters. When you actually know who the characters are, you can motivate them directly, but even indirectly, you can say, what are the main motivations for adventurers overall? Money, power, stopping evil, discovering new things, and you can build all of those into, like. So the characters went down into the depths of the ruins of Marrow. They got the idol, but I thought it was fun that the idol had lots of little spiky bits, and that it would be hard to pick up, and that you had to, like, make a dex check every time you handled it to not get pierced, and it would, like, suck the blood up. I don't know what that would do exactly, but I'm like, it'd be kind of fun if the idol sucked up your blood when you got poked on it. Now I have to be careful too, because, like, if it does a D4 damage, that could kill most of my characters. I could drop them to 0. They finished the Dungeon of Marrow. I think they found the gateway below, and they used the idol to close the gateway with some intelligence checks and, like, channeling arcane energy into the idol and using the idol. I think they had to channel divine energy into it to close the gate. They could channel arcane energy into it, along with a blood sacrifice to open the gate further. It was sort of, the gate was sort of in a half open state. This weird like gate with like, the wall was like sunken in and there was like cilia and they could see on the other side. There was a creature on the other side trying to get to them. I don't know what that was. And at one point it looked like one of the characters' mothers. And they managed to close the gate and they saw, I think I did like a cavern creeper that was like worshiping the gate, and they saw that and like, let's not face that thing. So they left. They, quickly scuttled together and got out of the dungeon itself. And then they tried to camp for the night. And they heard in the middle of the night, I rolled a check and it was far away and it was orcs. This is something I wish I had done a little differently. They had far away and it was orcs. And I said that like one of the characters who's on watch heard the orcs. And what do they do? And the player, and I think this is one where it's like, are you sure you guys want to do that? He's like, who's out there? Like he yells at them. And then they're like, huh? And then they sent a couple in. And I made the orcs kind of like your traditional orcs. I was like, well, they're orcs that worship one of the other gods. And I don't know if I rolled on one of the other gods. I think it was other followers of the marrow monsters. What is the name of the critter? So what I wish I had done is instead of making the orcs your traditional like hide wearing, spear wielding, in this case I still said like they're orc worshippers or whatever. So I wasn't doing the true bioessentialist like, oh, all the orcs are bad here. But what I could have done and what I wish I would have done is made them Knights of St. Yidrith, so that there was like a handful of orcs that are Knights of St. Yidrith, that they came to find the idol because they know how evil it is and they want to take it, and they will take it by force from whoever has it to bring it back to their thing. That would have been more fun. I will probably add like an encounter like that somewhere else. Unduluk is the name of the Marrow Fiend. Unduluk is the name of the creature. And I think it would have been more interesting to have Knights of St. Yidrith, the orcish Knights of St. Yidrith who came to the tower to try to find the idol themselves. And we're going to go head down there to look for it. And then the players have to decide, do we tell them we have it? Do we not tell them we have it? Do we fight them because they're going to try to take it? And then the Orc Knights of St. Yidrith. Anyway, I guess what could have happened is not important, because what did happen is I think they ended up intimidating them. They showed them the idol, which freaked them out, and the orcs fled. But then more orcs are going to come. I think I'm still going to have those orcs be like scouts of the Knights of St. Yidrith. Might be more interesting. So then we started a hex crawl, and I have not done a hex crawl yet in Shadowdark, so it was interesting to learn how hex crawls work. And I think I made only one real big mistake, which is that the hexes in the Gloaming are only 2 miles. And I thought that they were typical hex size. So when let's see, Overland Travel, page 90. So in this case, they said the hexes are 6 miles across. Well, not in the Gloaming, and here they're only 2 miles across, which means and PCs can travel 8 hours a day. They must increase their con check to push further. Hexes are 6 miles across. And the number of, the time per hex is 4 hours, which means they could, in the way I did it, is that they could cross 2 hexes in a day. I don't know if I have to stick to that now. Where, let's see, so if instead the hexes are 2 miles across, now I got to do a bunch of math, right? So walking in normal terrain is 4 hours per 6 miles. Oh God. So what is that? So if it's 2, 4 divided by 3, why are they making it so hard? Why is this 2 miles across? I have to do like trigonometry. I have to do algebra. It's like 1.5 hours or something like that. It's like what is it? So 4 divided by 6. Is that right? No, I don't have that right. I think is it 1.5 miles? I think it's 1.5 miles. Do I have that right? No, 4 divided by 3, right? Yeah, it's 1.3 hours per hex. We're going to just round that up to 2, right? They'll say like it takes 2 hours to cross the hex. And I think that makes more sense. So then it's a matter of, okay, how often... And this is something that I found a little tricky, is a lot of the different rules, and I think what we're going to do is fire up Notion and write this down, because I kind of need a reference page to remind me how to handle hex travel, like all of the things that happen. it is 17. So I've got my new notes. I'll keep the notes from last week. I will move these down here. And one of the things, we'll just add a page. And we're gonna, whoops, what did that do? So let's see. Hexes are 2 miles across. Normal speed, it takes roughly 2 hours to cross a hex. Normal speed on normal terrain. Walking speed on normal terrain takes roughly 2 hours to cross a hex. The gloaming, we're going to say that the gloaming woods are considered unsafe. That means that you do a check every 3 hours. And of course, that means that you check every other hex, right? Is that right? Yeah. Oh man, check every other hex. I think that's right. That makes sense, right? Because every 3 hexes is 6 hours, and you would check every 3 hours. So you check for an encounter every 3. So you travel a hex, and I think the encounter that you check for is a 50%. So this is where I lost something. I couldn't find, and I can't remember where. Somebody reminded me where, and maybe somebody here in Twitch chat will remind me that when you're checking for encounters, so there's crawling rounds. They can rest anywhere, but doing so inside a dungeon or palace carries a high chance of failure due to the risk of random encounters. While characters are resting in a dangerous environment, the game master checks for random encounters using the overland travel cadence. Unsafe, risky. Okay, right. But I think somewhere, I think it's a 3 in 6 chance, right? If I recall, it's not the same 1 in 6 that you roll for crawling. It's something else. But I don't remember where that is. Random encounter is a way to keep it up. How often? Check for a random encounter based on the environment's danger level. Unsafe, risky, deadly. To check for a random encounter, GM rolls 1d6 on encounter. GM might also check for overland travel, check on random encounters based on hours and place of travel. But somewhere it had I swear I saw, maybe I should check it. I swear somewhere in here it had a 3 in 6 that when you did a check, let me just check in here. Yeah, here it is. Minutes pass. Effects with the duration of rounds expire. The GM rolls 1 random encounter check that occurs on a 1 to 3 on a d6 while time is passing. So time passes. Every moment in the game doesn't have to be accounted for in real time. For example, if the characters want to spend 10 minutes, I guess that's still during. I don't think that happens when you're doing tracking along encounter. So I guess my question, an outstanding question, is when rolling for an encounter during overland travel, do you roll 1 on a 1d6 or 3 on a 1d6? I don't know. I would also like to do weather, right? Let's see, these aren't steps, these are notes. Is there anything about weather? I don't know if Shadowdark has anything about weather. No, if there's a weather table, it is not here. That would be a fun thing to add. So I'd like to add a weather table. We could whip one up ourselves. Of course, that's kind of specific to the gloaming. Might be kind of fun. You could do almost like a Mjorkberg style weather. So the steps for a hex crawl. Determine the pace. I don't know if they have a different pace. The pace, difficulty, and danger, right? And we'll say typically. How come I can't spell typically? I'm having a stroke. Typically, 2 hours per hex walking, and it's considered unsafe. Determine whether they're not really going to get lost. I think there is determine whether they can get lost. Roads, they can't get lost, but traveling through the woods, they might get lost. We could do a little thing. And I think there's a system for that. And then roll for an encounter every other hex. Or, add one when things are boring. I don't know. We'll see. Getting my head around it. Anyway, we did a hex crawl. They camped for the night. I rolled an encounter while they were camping, and that weird dungeon crawler thing followed them out of the dungeon and is kind of like slurping its way across the countryside trying to find the idol. So there's like multiple things that are looking to find the idol, including this big nasty slurpy thing, and which they managed to avoid. It stayed away. It didn't come to them at the night, and so they managed to avoid it. They got a rest. They they had a hard time getting a rest and completing the rest. And now they're about, a half day's journey away from the village, and they just ran into Drusilla, and this is our strong start, right? Meeting, and she's the medicine woman. And she has some, when I rolled an encounter, it was like a hag is in the woods with a truffle pig. And I was like, ooh, not a hag, the hag, right? And so she's going to see the characters. She's going to run into them. They'll probably assume, I don't know, they'll probably figure out pretty clearly that she's a hag, but we'll find out. And I was like, oh, it's a perfect opportunity to tie into this story that's already exists inside the thing, which is that there's this witch named Drusilla who is actually poisoning the town that she's supposedly helping. And that really gets into like our secrets and clues that they can discover from Drusilla. And the secrets are that the people of Wardenwood, their skin is pale and clammy. They sweat a strange milky substance. They have a persistent coughs. Drusilla is giving them poultices and essential oils to stave off the sickness. What does she think is causing it? I think she believes that that the Knights of St. Yidrith and what location are the Knights of St. Yidrith out of? 1406. Greywall Priory. So Drusilla believes the Knights of St. Yidrith out of the Greywall Priory have something deep in their cellars causing the sickness of the wood and of Wardenwood. So we have these sort of dark entities. It's funny that I have lack here. I could delete that. So the factions that we have Almazat, wolf-headed archdemon with 6 eyes. Almazat seeks to wrest the sands from his father, Kytheros, the god over marrow, right? Kytheros, Lord of Time, who seeks all possible futures. Mugdalblub, Elder Ooze. Does she worship Mugdalblub? Shun the Vile. She's probably so the trick with, Undaluk, the marrow fiend, right, is there. I guess these are, so I created like gods and factions. And if I make her a follower of Shun the Vile, then that would tie Drusilla to one of the characters, but that could cause like a conflict if it's like, well, the character follows Shun the Vile. And so I don't think she does. She doesn't follow the Fey Queen. She doesn't follow the Willow Man. She doesn't follow St. Yidrith. So she could. I've had a whole lot of different groups that are tied to like Almazat and the Marrow Fiend, Undaluk. I think probably the idea that she follows like the Elder Ooze might be more fun. Make a new page in the Shadowdark Gloaming database. There it is. Bang. Follows the way of Mugdalblub. I'm never going to be able to spell that. We'll make a new NPC for Mugdalblub. Drusilla follows the way of Mugdalblub. She's been cursing. Well, let's see. That's a secret on its own. Have been cursing the people of Wardenwood with an oozy idol. The curse can be, if the idol is, let's see. We already did an idol. Let's do another monument, and we'll go to our old monument generator here. I'm going to use my random monument. I should create a gloaming list, but I can, let's see, floating infested geode. That sounds pretty cool. Infested glass shrine, infernal crystalline statue, frozen bloody altar. We could just have an altar, right? An oozy bloody altar would be kind of cool. So she has an altar there. She's been cursing them, but they probably need an object to remove the curse. And I think, let's create an item. An ancient ghoulish glass eye. I like that. Kept, now held deep in and this is where we're going to put the hook in for Bittermold Keep, right? I think Bittermold Keep is the dungeon that's actually in the book. Yeah. An ancient ghoulish eye of Mugdalblub, now held deep in Bittermold Keep, can cure the curse. It can cure the curse of the people of Wardenwood. So that gives him a motivation to go to Mugdalblub They go there, they delve, they find the glass eye, they bring it back, they use the glass eye to remove the curse from the people of Mugdalblub, or the people of Wardenwood, and then everybody's happy. That is good. The trees of Wardenwood, of the Gloaming, are cursed by who is it? Oh, those are locations. Almazat, right? But I think specifically by Undaluk. By Undaluk the Marrow Fiend. They drip a strange, milky liquid. So we're going to have, instead of the sweat in the strange, milky substance, we're going to get rid of that from the people, because that skin is pale and clammy. Their bodies are flabby. Their bones weaken. They're turning into oozes, right? But that's going to be different than the marrow trees. The cult of marrow wants to break the border, shatter the border between the world of marrow and the Gloaming. Each tree is its own small tear between worlds. That's cool. What else? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 3 more secrets. The Knights of St. will cut through anyone or anything they think is in the way between them and true evil. The Knights of St. Yidrith have embraced the darkness they face in order to battle, or because they believe it is the only way to defeat the darkness of other worlds. The leader of what is he called? Greaves Redthorn. Greaves Redthorn is also a secret leader of the cult of Marrow. He wants the idol to open up the portals between worlds. Cool. All right. Lots of secrets. So I'm good. I got lots of lore to give out. That's great. But what are we actually going to do in the game? So they're going to meet Drusilla the Medicine Woman. We'll see how that goes. They will return to Wardenwood. We're going to have downtime. We're going to try out our first downtime session. We'll see how that goes. There's a couple of scenes I'd like them to find. I think the Twisted Marrow Tree. This is like an encounter. I guess it's kind of a location. And the idea is there's a torn open marrow tree. Branches, the tree is split open. And there's this like sickly white ooze thick inside the tree. Branches of the tree have pierced through the bodies of 3 worshippers, pinning them to the ground around the tree. That's kind of a fun encounter, a fun thing to run into, right? And maybe there's an item, an unholy item. And what would that item be? I like my little item generator. An ancient dwarven medallion, psionic gnomish knife. That's not bad. We'll say a psionic fairy knife. There's an unholy psionic fairy knife held in the hands of one of the worshippers that they used to slice open the tree. I think it is a +1 dagger, and it is a defiled fey. It's a defiled fairy dagger that lets the character who wields it hear the thoughts of one character each day. That's fun. And it's a 3 XP. I think it's a treasure. I can't find my treasure table. The value of treasure, where's that? It is probably, it's fabulous treasure, I think. That would be a 3. I think, however, creatures lurk around the cursed split tree. What creatures? So the Gloaming has a random table, I think. I thought there was a random encounter table for the Gloaming. Oh, there's a whole diabolical treasure thing. This is cool. I should have used that. Oh, well. These are spells. I thought there was a random table of monsters when you went lurking around the Gloaming. Here we go. Encounters. So we would say almost certainly this is demon-based. Let's roll a D8. Where's my D8? The Willowman. The Willowman is there. How close is the Willowman? So now we roll on our other Shadowdark tables, which I'd typically forgotten, which is how far away it is. D6, the higher you roll, the further away it is. It is far away, and the activity it is doing is 4, 5. It is eating. Ooh, the Willow Man is nearby eating something. I wonder what it is devouring and how it devours. That's pretty great. All right. So we got like a, Twisted Marrow Tree encounter. I don't know where I'm going to put that or when, but I dig it. Oh, the knights, the orcs of St. Yidrith would be a fun potential encounter. And then their, paths, next options. There's a few, right? They could visit Drusilla if they haven't already dealt with her. I don't think I'll make that an option. Go to Mugdal Blub, which is called what? Bittermold Keep. That is an option. Go to the Bittermold Keep to end the curse on Wardenwood. Delve into the well, the Wardenwood well, to see what is causing the curse. And that's a secret that we want to drop in. The curse comes from an altar poisoning the water of Wardenwood down in the well below the town. Delve into the Wardenwood well. What is another? Go to the bandit. Go to the Red Thorn. Is it Red Thorn? Yeah. And deal with Greaves Redthorn. That is one. They have the bones of the bones of the Green Knights back to not Marin's Hold. They hate Marin's Hold. The Mire Castle ruins. Oh, that didn't want to do that. Stop the insanity. That didn't work. Never mind. Do they have any other quests or any other rumors? There's one, the sage, where is he now? The elf sage Haldoran used to come and visit Wardenwood, but hasn't been seen in some time. His tower looms over Fenmere Lake. He's supposedly gone for a century, but it might be more interesting if he's been gone for months because Drusilla got rid of him. That might be kind of a fun thing. Well, I got piles of secrets. I got some scenes. I've got, the Strong Start's pretty simple. I've got some NPCs listed. Monsters we're going to roll randomly. We're not going to worry about that. Treasure I've already got listed, so I'm not going to worry about that because we can count on the game to help it with a lot of those things. So what do I have? Everything that I need. I've got my Strong Start. I've got a big pile of secrets. They're mostly heading back to town. There's that, another secret, right, is a dungeon creeper who seeks the idol of Undaluk. It hunts in the forest. I think I've got everything I need. I feel pretty good about it. One of the things that's interesting about running Shadowdark, it is very easy to run. It's very easy, and it's very easy to prep for. Like such a straightforward RPG that it's really pretty straightforward to you can count on the tables a lot of time. You can count on other aspects of it. There is sort of like a the original like Dragon Quest style of, you can mostly count on random encounters and then maybe have like one fixed encounter in a location. So an example, I don't know if I made it yet. The Caverns of the Wardenwood Well, for example, is one of the dungeons. And I haven't really filled it out with anything yet. I haven't decided really what's down here. And I can mostly count on the random tables to do it for me. I guess the one question is there are some areas down here that I think I could even roll on this, right? I could roll randomly. We could do it for right now. So you can see there's like secret areas with like vaults here that are man-made, right? That are worked. What I can do is go to my faction list. And I can kind of roll on this list. 1, 2, it goes up to 8, I think. It goes up to 9. Who are we going to pull? Well, we'll do 8 because that doesn't need to be another Undaluk. We already have Undaluk. There's my D8. Did I lose my D8? There it is, right in the middle. 1. So they could be Crypts of Almazat. Except, I think, I'm gonna change my mind. We're gonna go with Kytheros, right? Because I think it'd be fun to introduce another faction. And the idea that there's like Crypts of Kytheros down here, I think could be fun. Kytheros, if we go back to, which book is this? So Kytheros, right, has these patron boons. Is there a description of Kytheros? Father of Almazat, Lord of Time, who seeks all possible futures. Kytheros seeks the fulfillment of all destinies as they were meant to be. That's weird. So we'll fill it up and we'll see what goes on there. Could be kind of fun. So we'll see how that goes. So I think I am all set for my game today. Let's just do another run through. You know what? We never did take a look at the old notes. Why don't we take a look at the old notes? Recover the idol. They did that. Continue exploring. They kind of did a little bit. Return to town. They doubled back. We did the hexploration. We haven't done downtime. So this is what the options were last time: was investigate the Red Thorn outpost, visit Drusilla, and I want them to go to Bittermold Keep. I really do. I'm kind of like, why don't you go to Bittermold Keep? So I'm going to give them like a couple of good reasons to go to Bittermold Keep. World of Marrow is bleeding into this world. You can smell it in the air and feel it in the deep roots of the marrow trees. Yes. More than one unholy influence curses the Gloaming. Yes, they learned that. 3 gates exist. One in the ruins of Marrow, one in the Grandfather Tree in the Bandit Camp, and one in the Gate of Almazat in the Wolf Caves near the Corrupted Henge. The world of Marrow is the home of Almazat, the wolf-headed archdemon with 6 eyes and 6 horns. Almazat seeks to wrest the sands of ages from his father, Kytheros. The people of Wardenwood are sick. They depend on herbalists for poultices and essential oils. Yes. People of Wardenwood are turning into ooze people. Yes. Drusilla, these are not, they didn't learn this stuff, but they got moved forward. Very own poisoning in their well. Large cavern exists between the well. Working with the forces of Undulak and Mugdalblub. I think we're going to go with Mugdalblub. She points to the people of Wardenwood with the curse of Mugdalblub that's been brought in. We're going to just copy that one over. So all that kind of happened, or all those were relevant. I'm going to just replace that one because it was a little bit more detailed. So I got lots of details here of things that they can learn while they're going about their business. Yeah, so I feel good. I feel good about what I got. So I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me today while I prepared for my Shadowdark RPG. If you enjoyed this show and you want more stuff like this, you want to see all of the different things I do, the best way you can do that is to subscribe to the Sly Flourish newsletter. Every week you get an RPG-related email sent directly to your inbox with links to all of the other things that I've made anywhere else, whether it's YouTube videos or podcasts or whatever. You can find it there. You can also join my Patreon. If you join the Patreon, you get access to a dedicated Discord server, a monthly Q&A, whole bunch of different tools, features, supplements, source books, all kinds of different stuff that you get for becoming a patron of Sly Flourish. And you can pick up any of my books, including Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, Lazy DM's Companion, and the Lazy DM's Workbook on the Sly Flourish bookstore. Links for all of those are in the show notes. Thank you all so much. Have a great day, and get out there and play a role-playing game.